importance of historical events, and I'm not talking about dates and stuff like that. Who cares? I mean, that doesn't matter in the slightest. What day did they drop the atomic bomb? I mean, I know, but, you know, I'm not most people. But does it matter, or does it more matter the idea of, okay, this happened, and this was the trend, and all of these things were in the trend, and this is what was happening, and the darkness was on the planet, and this darkness had to be stopped, that was coming from this part of the world, and then the United States said, holy criminy, we got to put an end to this, and then came up with this thing, and this bomb that was ridiculous, and then dropped it on Okinawa and Hiroshima. I mean, not Okinawa and Hiroshima, what am I saying? Hiroshima, Nagasaki. So you've got to understand, the Hiroshima bomb was like an event. Does it matter when the date was? I mean, you know, you're going to be thinking about it for like 50 years. You're going to remember the date? No. I mean, most people are not going to, unless they lived in that time, and it was like me talking about the Kennedy assassination, November 22nd. I mean, I'm 56 years old. This happened when I was 3. But it was something that rocked my world. It rocked my world because it rocked the emotions of all the people around me when I'm this little kid. That's like my first real live memory that ever stuck in my head, ever. And it wasn't the event that stuck in my head, it was what the event did to the people around me that stuck in my head. They were tripping out. My mother and all the people around me, they were tripping out. But my point is, look at this event. Because we see the same event centuries earlier surrounding Moses. You know, the ruler's like, kill all the little brats, kill them all. I gotta make sure these prophecies, or my seers that are seeing this, these people are people of wisdom too, by the way. And all of the rulers try and capture people of wisdom because they have value, and they try and harness that wisdom toward their rule. There's nothing wrong with the wisdom. It's people that can use it. You know, how you harness it, now that's a different story. It's like owning a gun or something. Are you going to be a bank robber with it, or are you going to protect people that break into your house and try to kill you? You know what I mean? It's two different things. It's like saying morphine is bad. Well, maybe to someone strung out on the stuff that just won't stop shooting it into their arm or whatever you do with morphine. I think you shoot it into your arm. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, it's like saying morphine is bad. Well, you know what? When they put people in surgery and they work on them in the medicine field, morphine's like super important. You know what I mean? You can always take something and turn it into some purpose that's no good. I mean, you can take your car and run people over, but you know, that car is important to your life, or otherwise you'd be in trouble. I mean, we got to be real here. So when you're looking at these old rulers and them trying to harness the powers and abilities of people that study wisdom, you better understand there was an important factor. There is, rather, even to this day, even into the future, there is an important factor to people that are actually entrenched in wisdom. It's just how it's being used. That's not cool when you're dealing with psychopathic rulers that are on a head trip and say, we're the elites and you're stupid, shut up slave, that kind of thing. You know, the empire people. Okay, let me bring the story back to task, because we're talking about the young Jesus. Now, Herod tries to off the kid, and in the process offs a bunch of other little kids, but Mary and Joseph are warned, get the heck out of here. The king is going nuts. He's gonna slaughter the kid. He's gonna slaughter the baby, the Jesus baby. So take the kid and get the heck out of Dodge. So they leave. That's basically that event. They end up in Egypt, not too far. And the reason I know this is because it made me curious, really curious one day, and I started researching it. But they ended up not too far from the pyramids of the Giza Plateau, which kind of amazed me because, well, just because. I don't want to say why, but it really amazed me. I find that whole thing incredibly fascinating. But that's where they end up, in this little town very near that plateau, within a distance that you could travel in a relatively short period of time and go over there if you wanted to. So Joseph and Mary don't bring Jesus back from Egypt until they're absolutely for sure that crazy King Herod is a dead goner dude. The guy's friggin' dead. And when they know for sure, okay, this crazy guy is dead, then they come back, and then they end up in Bethlehem. This is oh little town of Bethlehem. You know that place? The reason they end up in Bethlehem is because, it's sort of off the beaten path and in the outskirts. It's like way away from the main Judea or where the power is. So they live out there with Jesus because, that was a traumatic event. Someone trying to kill all the babies, that's some crazy stuff. That's madness. So they wanted to stay far away from that. It makes perfect sense. Okay, so this is where Jesus grows up, and he's a little kid in Bethlehem, and he's growing up, and he's being a little kid there. And so that's his little kid deal. And the next event we're going to talk about is the event when he's becoming in the marrying age. He's becoming in the bar mitzvah age. And in the bar mitzvah age, they start recognizing you as, okay, well, now we're going to start to recognize you as a man. Now, in ancient times, they start doing weird stuff like pairing you up with the girl you should marry and all this kind of stuff. These are ancient times. Who knows why they did what they did? Who knows? It doesn't really fly in 21st century times. But that's how it was. This is like a long time ago. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is him talking with these super educated dudes that study the Torah. They're like freaking out how he knows all this stuff. He's like got PhDs according to their way of thinking, and I'm putting this in our terminology. His knowledge level is like massive. Like, how in the world did he learn all of this? They were blown away. Matter of fact, his mom got mad because she couldn't find him. I'll tell you the story because that's what we're going to talk about next. After that, he leaves. He takes off. We don't know what happened to him. We have to look at I'm going to give you some other material of what might have happened, but the Bible does not say. So we'll look at that.